Hello and welcome to the official Hacks podcast from Max and Pineapple Street Studios. I'm Bobby Finger.
And I'm Lindsey Weber. We're your hosts for Hacks Season 4, unpacking every episode along the way.
Today we'll be talking about Episode 4, in which Deborah's late night show finally premieres. It's been a long wait, but it's happening. Then we've got an interview with Mark Indelicato, who plays Damien, her very hairless, regrettably, dinner partner.
We'll get to that.
We'll get to it.
We say it every episode. I'm saying it again. If you haven't seen this episode of Hacks, we are going to be spoiling it. So go back and watch it.
Listen, you're going to be wonderful. You always are.
Thank you.
Except for that Lifetime movie you made in the 80s. I didn't care for that. Knock 'em dead, kiddo.
Okay, let's do a quick recap of the episode and then we will get into it. Today we're talking about episode 4. It's called I Love LA. It was written by Pat Regan and directed by Paul W. Downs.
I don't know how you could just say I love LA without singing
I love LA. She loves it. I also can't hear that song without hearing the Kris Jenner version. It is irrelevant to me as a song by Randy Newman. I respect Randy Newman. I think he's a massive talent. I know he wrote the original song, but it has absolutely no meaning for me beyond Kris Jenner. Sorry.
I love my friends.
She loves you.
You.
Anyways, if you haven't seen the Kris Jenner birthday music video for I Love My Friends set to the tune of Randy Newman's I Love LA, you need to go actually stop this and go watch it and come back.
It's on the occasion of her 30th birthday, so that sets the scene. Enough about Kris Jenner. What happens in this episode? It begins with Deborah having a panic attack for the first time. She does not believe that it's a panic attack. She's not the type of person who gets panic attacks. How dare anyone even assume that it's a panic attack? She's Deborah Vance.
I'm not having a panic attack. And I would know because I've never had one.
When they actually do the show, Deborah wants to go out with the famous people, but everyone's so exhausted and has other plans.
So my kid just threw up all over the place.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's what 100 gummy worms will do. He's so annoying.
And after Deborah gets all of her dinner invitations declined, Damien convinces Deborah to go with him to the gay bar. She gets offered to go into a cage, huffs some poppers, passes out, has to go to the hospital. Who's her emergency contact? It's Ava, which is sweet. And then they watch the episode together in the waiting room with, an adoring audience around them.
That was amazing.
Thank you.
The devil's real and he lives inside me.
Let's begin with the backstage. We've seen the set get built, a beautiful montage of Deborah's beautiful set.
Set to Queen's Breakthrough, which is an incredible song choice for this. That's such an incredible kind of moment. They're fixing the wigs, they're cutting the fabric. You're seeing the lights get set up. You're seeing the building of the set. You're seeing all the sweet green come in to the writer's room, which is a classic. All of the kind of bowls that you get, the slop bowls that you get served for lunch when you're in a writer's room. And then Deborah is eating her kind of meager portions of one almond and stepping on the scale, which is a little bit outdated, but so is Deborah.
So is Deborah.
You haven't eaten. Don't talk about my eating.
Ladies, no talking about food at work. If it's on the plate, it's off the menu.
When she goes to the doctor, from the moment they go into the cardiologist's office and there's that establishing shot of a woman sitting back to the camera, I was like, I'd recognize that bob
You knew it was
anywhere.
Carol.
That is Miss Carol
You said
Burnett.
that's Carol.
And it was.
I am really happy for you. It's about time a woman wore the suit.
No, thank you. Well, I couldn't have done it without you. No, your show. I mean, when I was a little girl, I would watch you do that. And it did. It made me feel like I could do that.
It's very sweet. Pointed because you're highlighting our age difference, but
Well,
it's sweet. It's sweet.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier today casually, just as friends, and now we're going to talk about it on this pod. But I loved how, obviously a cameo from Carol Burnett is truly an icon of variety show. Yes, she didn't host a late night show, but she hosted a variety show for years and years and years and just totally broke the mold or whatever. But to have a scene where it's just two women talking, but those women are both older women of different generations, it's that is not happening on television ever.
No. You got a woman in her 90s talking to a younger woman in her 70s.
But as a show about these intergenerational friendships, the main one being between Ava and Deborah, now you have kind of the next level up, which is between Deborah and Carol Burnett. And it's it's mirroring their relationship. It's mirroring kind of this person you look up to, this mentor figure who's supposed to give you all the answers. And then Carol's basically just well, you know how I would do it. I just do the show for one person. Like she is basically saying like, rely on somebody else, you know?
And who could that person possibly be? We find it at the end. It's obviously Ava. Do you think that Deborah and Ava should have just gone to dinner together the entire time?
Yes.
Yes.
Duh.
They are soulmates.
Well, I just think it's like they
Platonic
are
soulmates.
they are being thrown together by the fates. Just like in their denial of their friendship, they're being thrown together by the fates. Like that's just like, you know, and they will again and again kind of deny that they love each other, that they need each other, more that they need each other. Let's say that first. And the audience knows too that like every time they deny their connection, like something bad will happen.
Something bad will happen, right?
Yeah.
We get one of our coolest guest appearances in this episode. One of the writers, after the writers' retreat, we've heard about all the writers that Deborah and Ava have hired together. And we've heard mention of Meryl Marco. And in case you didn't know who she is playing herself, an iconic late night writer. Worked for The Late Show with David Letterman forever. I think helped co-create it. Is a huge deal in the TV writer industry.
Wrote for Sex and the City, wrote for the Gary Shandling Show, wrote for The Times and New Yorker and Esquire and blah, blah. Just a huge writer, won a million Emmys, etc. And has one of the funniest moments on this episode where she's basically like, oh yeah, that's your job. That's a job for a lunatic.
Relax. I so would not want your job. So much stress. I don't want to call it hell on earth, but I mean, it's a job for a lunatic.
You know it.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
I am loving this gig. I mean, I'm here Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Classic consulting producer sandwich. Yeah, you got to be available for 3-day weekends in both directions. That's the bread part of the sandwich.
Sounds so nice.
And by the way, I'm going to start bringing my dogs whenever I feel like it. So if you're allergic, stock up on Claritin.
Oh, you're...
Ciao.
Coming from her, if you know who she is, which is kind of this little bit of a wink, wink, if you know, you know, because she had the job. She had the job for many years. And she's being, I would think, honest to Ava, being like, oh, I got a great gig here. I'm just sitting back and relaxing. I'm being brought in when I need to be brought in and taken out when I need to be taken out. What you're doing is literal nonsense and I would never do it again, essentially.
Yeah. Meryl's just here for the snack.
She's here for the snack. She's here for crafty. That's true. The other moment that I think we skipped by was the first appearance of the social media girly. I'm saying that in quotes. I think that's like the official title of this character, who is played by social media girly, a real life social media girly, Jake Shane, aka Octopussy. What is
Therapist, aka Therapist.
No, but what was Jake Shane's original TikTok name? It is like Octopus Lover or something. I'm sorry. If you know, you know. If you don't, this is going to mean nothing to you. But the writing is very funny for this character. Whether or not you know who Jake Shane is, he happens to be just kind of like a viral TikTokian person. Content creator. Yeah. So I would say this is kind of one of those like wink, wink moments. But what I like about the show is they still, even though they're kind of like, if you know, you know, Jake Shane, they're still giving this person really funny writing. Like to have, as she's walking to stage and everyone's like, you're going to do great. You're going to do great. He like has his like iPhone on a gimbal and is like, smile, you know, like this is,
we have to make content.
This is for Instagram, you know, and it's just, that is definitely what it's like, you know, like you're just surrounded by hanger-ons that are just like all just trying to get something from you at this point.
And they're also just doing their job too. And I think she does sort of begrudgingly acknowledge the fact that like, I hate doing social media content, but it's part of my job now. It doesn't paint the job as in any way glamorous.
No.
It looks like a slog. It looks miserable. It looks miserable to write for. It looks miserable to host. It looks miserable to do the social media for, like in a way that's, I mean, almost complimentary, because it's like, I cannot believe that these people do this.
Well, it's just like not glamorous, I guess. And every time character on this show tries to be glamorous, they fail. Like, I'm going out to a fancy dinner after my late night show premiere, flop. Like, it's just like, it is not glamorous to do this work, despite The Tonight Show being a glamorous show when you watch it at home. And it does feel very glitzy and Hollywood and I Love LA Randy Newman and Shabuzi and Nancy Pelosi. I just can't get over that they were like, next week it's Shabuzi and Nancy Pelosi. That's so funny to me.
Hilarious.
Love that.
Hilarious.
Hope like in Hacks World they make them like sing a duet or something.
Let's get to our guest of this week's episode. We are so happy to welcome Mark Indelicato to the podcast. He plays Damien on the show. He's been on for all 4 seasons. We love to see him, and we're so happy to have him with us today.
Damien!
welcome to the show, Mark.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Of course.
We're so happy to have you on your big episode, one of Damien's biggest moments ever in this episode.
That's right.
Truly. So you've been on the show since season 1, from the very beginning. Damien is technically one of Deborah's assistants, but how would you describe his job? Like, what is Damien's job description to you?
When we started, there wasn't really much in season 1. There wasn't really much about Damien. And I really do love, even still in season 4, that he is kind of this enigma. You know what I mean? Like that you don't, I love getting to know him, and everything, these little nuggets of information about him are news to me as well when I read them. But I do like that he is an enigma. And I guess that I would consider him to be like Deborah's bag man. You know, and I thought when we started the show, I just always thought of Tony Hale's Gary from Veep.
Right.
And just taking that kind of structure and making it my own, you know, and because obviously Damien and Gary could not be more different, right? But their jobs feel similar to me.
There's kind of a relentless optimism that comes with being a personal assistant that you have to either have inside you or project somehow. And I feel like that's the commonality.
I feel that with Damien, there is, you know, in season 2, he talked about how he doesn't like comedy. So he's not Deborah's fan in the way that Marcus is Deborah's fan.
Right.
He's there to do a job, and he's there to do his job well. And so I think that in terms of optimism, I don't find Damien to be an optimist in that way. I think that Damien is just work oriented, and his end game, his goal is to do his job well. That's where he derives his joy.
Yeah.
Yes, he has to go get the piss.
He has to get the bear piss.
The bear piss.
He has to get the bear piss.
He has to make his boss happy.
That was one of my favorite. When he was like so dedicated to getting that bear piss, he's like, I have a supplier.
Yup.
I have a guy.
I've known a lot of friends who are personal assistants for like rich people. And one of the aspects of the job that is so crazy is that you are asked to do kind of impossible tasks.
Sure.
And you don't have any way to follow up. You just have to say yes and do it.
Sure. I'll find the piss.
Yeah, I'll find the piss. It doesn't matter that Dipper doesn't know where the piss is. That is my job.
Do you feel like Damien's dinner with Deborah, when he kind of shows up for her on that first night or whatever, do you think that's a breakthrough for their relationship? At least it is for the viewer who's kind of getting a one-on-one scene for a while that they maybe haven't had before.
I think it's a breakthrough for the viewer. I think that the dinner itself, I mean, you know, I think that what makes it so funny is that, like, Damien is her last call. Like, this is, like, I just, like, don't want to have dinner alone.
Right.
So, like, I guess I have to call Damien, which I think is hilarious. I have no idea what to order.
Well, you can never go wrong with quail.
What's that? What you want me to get?
Get whatever you want.
Well, you can never go wrong with quail.
So I don't necessarily think that it's a breakthrough for the character or like for their relationship. I think that it actually fits quite well into what their relationship and their dynamic is that like he has to show up for her. It's in his job description.
It's his job.
Exactly. And
Yes.
It was interesting this season because Lucia said to me, because I didn't know this or infer this before, but there's a scene, I believe, in the first episode or second episode where it's the bear piss
Oh,
thing,
the bear piss.
where she
Of
like
course.
calls for Damien, he's eating dinner, and Lucia said to me when we were shooting that scene, she was like, oh, Damien lives with Deborah. And so that was also this kind of thing where it was like, it's something so small as that, though, to be like, oh, I didn't know that.
You never considered it.
Like, Damien actually is a part of her family.
Yeah.
He literally lives in the same house as her.
Mhm.
And I mean, you know, we're talking about mansions, but he's
Still.
in that. He lives there.
He's there.
Well, this is like when Josefina shows up at the show, the premiere, and is like, come by for
Right.
dinner. Like, you know, it's just like that. It's
They
just
all
like,
live there.
It is summer camp. Exactly. That's why she had her underwear.
Yeah.
That's why, you know, they're all living there.
So it is
essentially. You
this
work for
kind
her.
of almost, you know, the most fucked up nuclear family you could possibly imagine.
Yeah.
And then what ensues, though, what happens after the dinner is, I think, a little bit more rewarding in terms of the Damien Deborah kind of relationship, right? And that she like does him a solid. You know what I mean? Like, she shows up for him in a way. And it's
Right.
in these kind of like the subtext of certain ways in which Deborah shows up for the people around her. Like, she knows that she has a hold over this community, and you know that she's gonna help him out and make him feel comfortable and make him feel desirable. And it's in those ways that I think Deborah is likable. You
Right.
know?
Yeah.
This really hot guy, Raul, just invited me to go home with him.
Cute.
I know, right?
Well, I guess you better go.
Well, I'll walk you to the car.
No, honey, I'm gonna stay a few more minutes. I mean, my future husband could be here.
Okay, well, have fun.
Yeah, you do.
And it's those little moments that I feel like, oh, Deborah does actually care, you know? And by the way, she's still getting her fill, right? She's still getting
Exactly. This is a
It's
mutual
a win-win.
Yes,
benefit
exactly.
for
I
her.
mean, it
Yeah.
surely isn't like completely about Damien, right? Like, her ego is being fed.
Yeah.
But you can tell how much fun Damien is having her be there, and that he's letting his hair down and like hooking up with a guy and like, you know, like doing that kind of thing, which I think is great.
Yeah. I've heard people say this about the show, but I tend to agree. It's one of the like queerest shows on television.
yes.
And yet we haven't seen Damien sort of like explore or express his sexuality in such direct ways until this episode. How did you feel as an actor to kind of finally get that moment to reveal a little more about this person? It's really exciting to see that side of him.
Yeah, I mean, you know, in speaking of Damien being an enigma, I actually really liked that because I grew up playing a very overtly gay character on Ugly Betty that at a time when it was, you know, not particularly in vogue to be doing that. And one of the things that I really loved about Damien just from jump was that, first of all, Paul Lucci and Jen let me play him however I wanted to play him, which of course was gay, but it was never really discussed. And I find that to be, I was not particularly interested in exploring that, like Damien's sexuality, because I find that we're kind of past that as a culture in terms of smart storytelling. I don't find that one's queerness or sexual identity is a character marker. And I think that the writers and Pat Regan, who wrote this episode, does such an amazing job of, because Damien is not, it's never been explored. It's just been understood. And I find that to be really smart storytelling.
Yeah, and the way that he talks about his personal life with Deborah isn't in any way making his sexuality novel.
Surely.
At all. He's just saying, he's just being human for one of the first times around her. He's being vulnerable with her. And he's like, I could use this favor, and you don't understand the scene in LA right now. Like, I lasered all the hair off my body and I regret it. Like, could you please just show up and do me a favor? And it's not necessarily about the fact of his queerness, although she does love her gay male fans a lot.
Sure.
It's the fact that he's being honest with her.
Right. And it's a new city.
Right.
Well, LA's more competitive than Vegas. I mean, Vegas is really competitive, probably more competitive than people think, but LA it's competitive.
And by competitive, you mean?
Muscles.
Oh.
Everyone has insane bodies, and I just don't know how they do it. I've been asking people what they eat.
So you want to be bigger?
I need an ass the size of a house. Deborah,
That's okay.
I am so sorry.
It's fine.
I just, like, I've never had alcohol before.
I want some BTS on this club scene because I was watching it being like, which gay bar is this? Where are the cages? And it's like, I was asking, I couldn't figure out. I was like, it's got to be a set. It
was
so
like some
elaborate.
random like place that they made into a gay club.
I loved it. I was like, this is unreal.
The truth of the matter is, though, you know what's so funny is that I think there was something that felt real to me about it, bringing Deborah into that bar, but also bringing Jean Smart into a bar full of gay men.
I was going to ask that exact question.
That was real. Like, they were so excited.
It can still be a set and still feel the same way it would be.
That was, I'm sorry, but like, maybe they like heightened the like applause and screams, but like every single gay man in that room knew obviously who Jean Smart was and was like a fan of the show. So like, not only were they actually like fans of Jean Smart, the actress, they loved Deborah Vance.
Right.
So there was a sense of realness to that. You know what I mean? It was crazy. Jean is a very powerful presence. You know what I mean? Even still to me, after 4 years, I'm still kind of like, oh, hey girl. What's up?
So, you know, when I felt the realness of the bar, I actually was feeling kind of the realness, even though it was a set of the scenery.
You know, I always did want, like, it seems so small, but like on my bucket list of like what I would have wanted like in my career was a slow-mo dance moment. And I got that in this episode.
So fun.
And to do it with Jean Smart, I mean, come on.
Truly.
What was it like filming the scene of her in the cage? Were you there
I
for
wasn't
that
there for
particular
that.
shot? That seems nerve-wracking.
I wasn't there for that. But, you know, Gina's very adamant for the most part about like doing all of her own stunts and like doing everything herself. I mean, she really is a consummate professional and an actress.
I love that.
And so I remember they had like the stunt double, like for when she falls down with the poppers.
Yeah.
The last thing that I remember hearing was like Jean just in the cage being like, I'm going to do it myself. And I also was like, go off, diva, please. You better.
A stunt double is not doing the poppers. I'm doing the poppers is truly the most
I'm doing
authentic.
the poppers and I will fall down.
And I like that this show does this thing where like she does call Damien because he's the last on the call sheet for dinner. But then like she goes to the hospital and Ava shows up.
Yeah.
And like the show always figures a way through the hijinks back to having them
I agree.
together for a moment.
I mean, I think that also, you know, I think that once Damien is off the clock, I think that she kind of respects that. And I think that there is a lack of boundaries between Deborah and Ava, which makes their dynamic so incredible to watch and to experience as a viewer, right? Is that there is a boundary between Deborah and Damien, right? Like, she gave him the permission to leave with that guy, and that's where the boundary is. Deborah and Ava don't have those boundaries, and that's what makes them so thrilling to watch and to watch their relationship unfold. And then, you know, and then we lead to Ava sneaking Deborah out of the hospital, like to, you know, to watch late night, like in the waiting room. It's just, you know, I love their relationship so much. And like, even though I read all of the scripts and I'm there, you know, like making it, it still makes me kind of cry. Like, I just love them so much. And there's just something so palpable about their relationship and so special. And I love them.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, like, very much before we go, that, you know, Deborah's LA house that was lost in the fires, just, I loved at the end of, you know, the episodes of just saying how much we love Los Angeles and that house, you know, we had a lot of memories there for the show, and I'm, you know, just devastated for the loss of it. So
for a show that takes such pleasure in lampooning Los Angeles, you can tell it also has just as much love for it.
We all love Los Angeles so much. I mean, I would be remiss without mentioning it on such a Los Angeles heavy season. So
we love LA, just like Randy.
Totally.
Thank you so much for joining us. This has been delightful.
Oh my gosh, thank you for having me, guys.
And we're so happy for Damien.
Yes.
And we were so happy to speak with you.
Yeah, so fun.
Thank you.
And we are done for this week. This has been the official Hacks podcast. I'm your host, Bobby Finger.
And I'm Lindsey Weber. We'll be back next week to break down episode 5, Clickable Face.
This podcast is a production of Max and Odyssey's Pineapple Street Studios. Our executive producers are Gabrielle Lewis, Barry Finkel, and Jayanne Barry.
Our producers are Melissa Akiko Slaughter and Ben Goldberg. Our associate producer is Natalie Pert. Darby Maloney is our editor.
This episode was mixed by Hannes Brown. Pineapple's head of sound and engineering is Raj Makija, and Pineapple's senior audio engineers are Marina Pais and Pedro Elvira. This episode was engineered by Javier Cruces.
Special thanks to Kenya Reyes, Allison Cohen-Sorokoch, Aaron Kelly, and Becky Rowe. Production music is courtesy of Max. You can watch new and old episodes of Hacks on Max. Big special thanks to Mark for joining us today on the show.
Thanks for listening. See you next week.
You're busy. I'll let you go.
Sorry.
No, I want to go because this is stressful and I'm here to enjoy myself. Bye-bye.